Over the last few months, Joel Gehring and I sat down with various members of the church and the community to discuss Rosedale, its history, strengths, and needs.
Well, as a place to live, we just love the location. It's less than 10 minutes from downtown Kansas City, Kansas, less than 10 from downtown Kansas City, Missouri.
If people aren't familiar with Rosedale, I'd encourage them to hop in their car and drive around and maybe take a long walk. Because I've worked in Rosedale 5 years and I still discover nooks and crannies or places that I've driven by or walked by, and I look at it one day and it seems different than another day that I saw it.
It's a real community. I think that a lot of ways people kind of get lost in the shuffle of a big urban area, and in Rosedale, the interesting thing is that you basically don't become a Rosedalian unless you're born here. So even though I've been here for 30 years, I think I'm not really a Rosedalian yet. So I think having some real roots in the community, and the fact that there are people and multiple generations of families that live in the area is something that I really appreciate.
I think one of the things that I appreciate so much about this community is the diversity, and in so many ways. It's diverse ethnically, it's diverse linguistically, diverse socioeconomically. We have everything from public housing to families that could well afford to live anywhere, and they choose to stay in the community because of the type of community it is.
The streets are older, the houses are older, there's a fair amount of wooded area still in the undeveloped area.
And I think Rosedale's better off for having a church here too. I don't think if our church wasn't here that Rosedale would be like it is now.
I think that's true.
There's a strong church base to the area that I think helps to guide people and give some influence.
There's lots of diversity in Rosedale, either in age, in income levels, in types of work people do, and their interests. And so I'm always surprised by someone telling me, oh, well, we could get so-and-so to work on this project because they have knowledge about a particular subject. I'm like, they do? They live here in Rosedale? You know, I'm just surprised and constantly surprised by that. So there's a lot of people with different backgrounds and interests, and they all seem willing to come together to work with one another.
Each person we talked to could identify several needs that Rosedale has, but each seemed optimistic that the people of Rosedale and the neighboring communities would step up and help solve the problems.
Some of the challenges that Rosedale has is that there's a tremendous amount of poverty in the area, and as a pocket of poverty, there are lots of things that go along with that. Poor transportation, inability of people to get the things that they need.
Rosedale is somewhat isolated in the fact that it butts up against two counties, Jackson County, Johnson County, and we're part of Wyandotte County. And the interstate cuts kind of Rosedale in half. There's the river to the north and 18th Street Expressway to the west. And so I think people kind of stay in this area, and I think there's lots of opportunities for our children and for the adults to see a bigger picture. But many times I think they kind of stay and are secluded in this geographic area.
You know, we used to have a bus actually that went all the way down Marion Lane, and that bus stopped running. They first shrunk it to a small bus, and then they kind of stopped running. So a lot of folks are kind of, especially a little further south and west of here, are kind of trapped. It's hard for them to get out. And as part of that, some of the issues that we have are lack of some of the area grocery stores and things that people need to be able to have access to.
I think our kids are basically good problem solvers. I think that they are growing up in a community where they're learning to live with the people from all different backgrounds and learning how to respect that and appreciate it, as opposed to having a lot of conflict around it. I think that one thing that we could improve in would be to give them opportunities where they could be out and about in a supervised, healthy way.
Rainbow and its members have been key in helping to identify and address many problems over the years.
We had a school building over there with a playground that after the school closed, it was kind of a dangerous place for kids to hang around because you never knew who was going to be behind that school building. And then after the building was torn down, there was nothing but a weed patch over there. And at one time, there was some guy hanging around in those weeds that would jump out and harass some of the young ladies walking up down the sidewalk. And at about that time, everybody decided they needed a park there and tear down that.
Yeah. And there was a Methodist member who happened to be on the school board and knew the school board was trying to sell the lot, and he reminded them that they had to offer it to a nonprofit before they could put it on the market. That's how we happened to. Right person at the right place at the right time. That's right. For that park, I think.
Rosedale has been a wonderful home for Rainbow, and the church has remained here by no accident. Rosedale is a community of great need, but it has just as much to offer to those who lend to it their time, talents, and skills.